Hello, Assalamu alaikum. Mehrunnisa Shapla is with you once again, and I'm feeling great for being here with you. I hope everyone is fine. And today I'd like to welcome the students of Honors 4th year because you have been requesting me for several days for taking classes, and so I'm here to take the first class with you. It's a reminder for you that I took two classes on the course of approaches and methods of language teaching, and I discussed the four methods of language teaching, that is grammar translation method, direct method, the lingual method, and obviously the very important communicative language teaching. And today I don't want to repeat those methods. I'm going to start today's class with a new topic, that is task-based language teaching. This is very important because this teaching method is considered as a branch of CLT. In short, task-based language teaching is called TBLT. TBLT focuses on the use of authentic language and asking students to do meaningful tasks using the target language. For example, the tasks can be visiting a doctor, or conducting an interview, or calling customer services for help. And here assessment is normally based on task outcome rather than the accuracy of language. And for this reason TBLT has gained popularity for developing target language fluency, not accuracy, and student confidence as well. So dear students, let's start the class with the PowerPoint presentation as usual. So let's go. Dear students, there's an introduction as usual, and today's topic, Honors 4th year. The class is for the students of Honors 4th year. Subject, approaches and methods of language teaching, and the topic is task-based language teaching. So in this slide, I'll talk about the definition of TBLT. It refers to an approach based on the use of tasks as the core unit of planning and instruction in language teaching. It is presented as a logical development of communicative language teaching. It is an approach offers students opportunities to actively engage in communication in order to achieve a goal or complete a task. So this is the definition of TBLT. Now, what is task? Because TBLT is based on mainly tasks. So what is a task? Okay, a task is any activity that learners engage in to process of learning a language. This definition is taken from Williams and Barden, 1997. A task is any activity that learners engage in to process of learning a language. This is very important, learning a language. The second definition is a task is a range of learning activities from the simple and brief exercises to more complex and lengthy activities such as group problem solving or simulations. What is simulations? Simulation means imitation of a situation and decision making. This is taken from Breen, 1987. So this starts from simple and brief exercises, and it ends in more complex and lengthy activities. Okay. So there are some examples of tasks, that is preparing a meal. It can be preparing a meal, or ordering food in a cafe, or talking to someone on the phone, compiling qualities of a good friend, or solving a problem. In this slide, I'll talk about the features of tasks. According to Rod Ellis 2003, a task has 4 main features. That is, a task involves a primary focus on meaning. A task involves a primary focus on pragmatic. Pragmatic means practical or a real thing. Okay, a task involves a primary focus on pragmatic or meaning. Number 2, a task has some kind of gap, such as information gap or reasoning gap. Number 3, the participants choose the linguistic resources needed to complete the task. They need resources taken from linguistics, okay, to complete the task. Number 4, a task has a clearly defined non-linguistic outcome. There are some other features of tasks, that is, tasks can be easily related to students' real-life language needs. So the task can be related to the daily life of students or real-life situation. Okay, then they create, that means the tasks create context. Context means situation. Context in linguistic, context means situation. So the tasks create contexts that facilitate second language acquisition. They create opportunities for focusing on form. A task-based approach enables teachers to see if the students are developing the ability to communicate in second language. L2 means second language. Okay. Now, in this slide, I will show you different types of tasks. According to Ellis 2003, tasks are of 2 types, that is, focused tasks and unfocused tasks. Focused tasks encourage learners to process grammatical structure either receptively or productively. Receptively means, it can be listening or it can be reading, and productively it can be writing or speaking as a result of performing the task. And it has 2 aims as well: to stimulate communicative language use and to target a language feature. And unfocused tasks, they are not designed with the use of a specific form in mind. And the question is, because focused tasks are very important, that is why you have to know how to design focused tasks. In this slide, I will show you how focused tasks are designed. Alice 2003 considers 3 principal ways in which focused tasks are designed by researchers. That is, structure-based production tasks, comprehension tasks, consciousness-raising tasks. And Losky and Bliv-Roman 1993 distinguished 3 ways to incorporate these 3 ways. That is, structure-based communication tasks can incorporate task naturalness. That is, communication happens naturally. Task utility, where the structure is useful, and task essentialness, in which learners must use the feature to be able to complete the task. And number 2, comprehension tasks, which are designed to facilitate noticing, include input enrichment tasks. So learners have to enrich in inputs, okay, to complete the task. And number 3, consciousness raising tasks, it teaches grammatical rules inductively. Inductively means you have to discovering rules by observing examples first. You have to look at the examples first, and then you can discover the rules from the examples. Okay, now I'm going to discuss about the theoretical rationale for task-based language teaching. So Ellis 2003 observes from the psychological perspective that Tasks are useful devices for generating interaction involving L2 learners. That means second language learners, which facilitate language acquisition, not learning, language acquisition. In particular, face-to-face interaction. That is, it is taken from real-life situation, face-to-face interaction. Okay, number 2, tasks help learners to obtain comprehensible input that can be comprehended or that can be understandable. Number 3, they provide learners with feedback on their own use of the L2, that is second language. Number 4, they prompt learners to adjust, manipulate, and modify their own output. Okay. Number 5, tasks allow for the production of output which develops the speaking skills automatically. This is very important because task-based language teaching is based on communicative language teaching, and speaking skills, in task-based language teaching, speaking skills can be developed automatically. Okay, number 6, tasks allow learners to perform their competence in the context of real operating conditions. This point is taken from Johnson, 1988. Number 7, Ellis cites Kehan, 1988, the benefits of using tasks in the language classroom. How? There are 3 points. It serves to generate better input through the feedback. It forces syntactic processing, that means the structure of sentences. It forces the structure of sentences processing. And number 3, it allows learners to test out hypotheses about the target language grammar. Okay. It exists in L2 knowledge. It provides opportunities for learners to develop discourse skills, and it is important for helping learners to develop a personal voice. These are all about psychological perspective of the theoretical rationale for task-based language teaching. Now there are some points that is based on socio-cultural theory, that is, learning arises not through interaction but in interaction. So learners must be in interaction with their peers or partners or friends. And number 2, it emphasizes that learners collaboratively construct knowledge, and that such co-construction, that is, it should not happen individually. Okay, so co-construction of knowledge engages learners in cognitive processes. What does it mean? Cognitive means cognitive is related to knowledge. So cognitive processes that facilitates language learning. This is taken from Snehade, 2005. Okay. So what are the principles of TBLT? Principles are: making errors is natural and considered as a process of acquiring the target language. So learners should not be worried about the errors that they have made. This is very natural. Focus on form is necessary. Learners need to be encouraged to produce the target language. Language production may be encouraged from early stage. This is very important. Encouraged from early stage. And teaching and learning processes should foster motivation and minimize learner anxiety. Yes, task-based language teaching always minimizes learner anxiety. So learners should not be anxious about learning processes. Okay, so in this slide I'll show you about the objectives of this teaching approach. To facilitate students' learning by engaging them in a variety of tasks that have clear outcome. To give learners experience from spontaneous interaction. To give learners the chance to benefit from how others express similar meaning. To make them participate in an interaction. To develop their confidence. This is taken from Wills, 1996. To engage them in using language cooperatively. Okay. Now, what are the learners' roles in this method? They can be group participant, they can be monitor, they can be risk taker and innovator as well. So what should be the instructional materials? Okay, for the learners, teachers should use these materials to instruct the learners. What are they? This can be books, newspapers, magazines, radio programs, TV, internet, board, or it can be worksheets. Okay, now I'll talk about roles of teachers and instructional frameworks. So, roles of teachers and instructional frameworks can be seen in these steps, that is pre-task, during the task, task cycle, or post-task. So, what is pre-task? In pre-task, the teacher will prepare learners for tasks, focusing on content and language. So, teachers must prepare learners for the task. Okay, and during the task, the teacher needs to monitor their students' performance carefully to ensure appropriate classroom processes are happening. So, teachers should create an environment of appropriate classroom. Okay, and task cycle. There are 3 steps, that is task, planning, and report. In task, doing tasks in pair or small groups, planning in planning, making decision whether the report will be presented orally or in writing. Okay, and report, presenting reports before the peers or groups or before the teachers. Okay, in post task, teacher review their errors that learners made. Okay, now I'll talk about how the syllabus of task-based language teaching is constructed. There are 4 steps. There are 4 steps in constructing a syllabus for task-based language teaching. That is task-based syllabus actually. The first step is determining goals of the course in terms of pedagogic. Pedagogic means the method of practice and teaching. It is called pedagogy. Okay, so determining goals of the course in terms of pedagogic focus, skill focus, and language focus. Then making a list of tasks organized by them. Number 3, specifying the nature of tasks in terms of input, conditions, processes, and outcomes. And finally we are required, that means the teachers are required to sequence tasks by task complexity as criteria. So the task can be designed from the simple to complex. Okay, now what are the strengths of this method or of this approach? That is, TBLT is applicable and suitable for students of all ages and background. This is suitable for all ages and background. Students will have a much more varied exposure to language with TBLT. Students are free to use whatever vocabulary and grammar they know rather than just the target language. TBLT helps the students pay close attention to the relationship between form and meaning. This is very important. And TBLT allows meaningful communication. So dear students, these are the strengths of this method. But there are some disadvantages as well. So I'll talk about the disadvantages or the limitations of TBLT. TBLT, the first limitation is TBLT rejects proactive syllabus design and misinterprets traditional classrooms. And it provides learners with substantially language and doubts in interaction unless knowledge base is already established through teaching, and it has mainly potential limitations in applying EFL classes. That means secondary EFL classes, English for foreign language, because in Bangladeshi context, English is not considered a second language. This is considered a foreign language. So in Bangladeshi context, task-based language teaching is very expensive. It cannot be applied because of large class sizes, a lack of infrastructure, lack of you know modern teaching materials, or lack of well trained teachers. That is why we can say there are some limitations, but if we can establish, or if we can apply in Bangladesh with these facilities that I have said, it can be very helpful for the students of Bangladesh. So, dear students, so let's recap the lecture again. Today I have talked about what is task, what is TBLT, what are the features of task, types of tasks, roles of learners, roles of teachers, and framework, instructional frameworks, principles of task-based language teaching, objectives of TBLT, and what about how can we make the syllabus for task-based language teaching, and as usual, advantages and limitations of task-based language teaching. So I think that is all for today. In the next class, I will come with a new topic. So thank you. Until then, Allah Hafiz.